Welcome back to $2 Garage. We are on the Junkyard crawl, and today we are looking at what was supposed to replace the Mustang. That didn't work out. What we have here is a Ford Probe, if you don't notice. Stick 2. So what we're looking at is a first generation Probe, and this was many things. So this was originally, in the 80s, supposed to replace the foxbody Mustang. But what ended up happening was there was massive backlash. Underneath here is a Mazda 626. They're fun little cars. They're fun to drive around and beat on, but it was their front-wheel drive sports coupe to compete with the Honda CRX. One thing to keep in mind with hindsight being 2020 is in the late 70s, early 80s, everything was going front-wheel drive. Honda was printing money with their CRX. And both GM and Ford played with the idea of making the Mustang and the Camaro front-wheel drive. Now, fortunately, that didn't happen. And obviously those personal, sport coupes no longer exist. But that being said, that's the logic behind the thought at the time. The interior in here is obviously a little dirty, fairly Spartan. It's a hatchback, so look at all that space. Typical 80s cluster. This is a fairly basic model. It is a stick. Rolling windows. That won't close. And of course, period of the time, you got choker seat belts that move up. Rain cut your neck. Well, that hood latch is frozen, so I will assume that it has a 4-cylinder. In the back here, it obviously is a hatch. This is definitely a 4-cylinder. It's got drums on the rear. And, well, at least it's here. Sorry for the bad angle, but under here on this blue first gen is a 3-liter V6. And over here is a second gen Probe, and obviously redesigned. But it's fairly nice. This one's actually fairly intact. As for power output on first generation Probes, you had the option of a Mazda 2.2 liter putting out a whole 110 horsepower, a Mazda 2.2 liter turbo putting out a whole 145 horsepower, and a 140 horsepower Vulcan V6. Needless to say, you had the option of a 4-speed Mazda automatic and a 5-speed Mazda manual. You're starting to hear a trend here. You don't hear much American in there. That being said, they were pretty quick in their day. The first gens sold fairly well, and they were considered a success enough to make a second generation. Body styles included that of a 2-door hatch coupe, aero coupe thing. You know the gist. Between 1989 to 1992, the first generation Probe, they sold 387,000 of them, so pretty good. The second, more 90s bubbly generation, between 1993 to 1997, obviously looked different. It shared the same Mazda 5-speed manual, however, it did get a Ford 4-speed this time. That being said, engine options now include a 2-liter 4-cylinder and a 2.5-liter 16-valve V6. Your V6 put out 164 horsepower, and your 4-cylinder put out 118 horsepower. These didn't sell as well, and it reflected they didn't make a third generation. The luxury coupe market was dying. That being said, second generations bounced between $13,000 to $15,000 new. That's about 27 to 29 grand. So, for reference, a GR86 MSRP, 35,000. That's where a new GTI sits. And that was about the price 10 years ago for something like a Focus ST, ST2 package. One interesting fact was the 1998 to 2002 Mercury Cougar, which is kind of a weird little car, was actually the proposed concept for a third-gen Probe, so it kind of did live on. Hope you enjoyed this video, enjoyed the Junkyard crawl, and don't forget to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe. This is $2 Garage. Have a nice day.